told myself I would record this. I got to a stopping point right before I was like, hey, wait, nothing's gonna be shown. So, getting up under this thing, exposing the rack and pinion. Let me zoom out. There we go. To expose the rack and pinion, you drop the 4-wheel drive, front differential. It's cool, no big deal. Take like, I think it's like 5 or 6 of these bolts out to get the axles, just so it's not, they don't hang, so you don't have to pop them out. You know, and then there's the mount bracket for the diff. Take a screwdriver, pry bar, pry that right out of its little bushing hole. And then there's another one here. Again, took the bolt out, pry bar, screwdriver out the bushing hole. And then this one is pretty cool because the you gotta take the transfer case, drive shaft, 2 front differential, drive shaft out, and then again just 4 bolts, and that thing just hangs there. And then this one's pretty cool because it's got a threaded, I don't know if you can see it, threaded one on the other side, so there's no nut to go with that bolt. But take that down, again, screwdriver, pry bar. I got my jack supporting me. I'm gonna relieve a little tension downward, and then of course pry from there. See you guys in a little bit. All right, we're here. Front diff is removed. Just look at all this space for activities. Ah. Oh yeah, I can see it all. All right, so where differential was, of course, plenty of room to now mess around with these 2 bolts for the rack. You can expose and see this bolt here for the steering column, from column to the rack. The line fittings for the high pressure, I don't think I need to remove these 2 because they're on it already, to what I imagine. I went straight in my eye, I don't know if you caught that. This one does, so I don't remove these 2. But there are 2 lines over here that go to the pump and I believe cooler? Pump and return reservoir. And then of course now we have the fun part of removing the tie rods from the knuckles, so I'm gonna take off the front wheels. Also taking a look at some brake stuff because I've got some grinded rotors. Alright, wheels off. Gonna be taking this cotter key off, pin, whatever you guys want to call it, whoever you guys want to call it, cotter pin, cotter key. Anyways, cotter key, this bolt, I'm gonna bring it to flush the top of the threaded portion of the tie rod, and then I'm gonna smack that Soma gun downward to release it from the knuckle, and then that'll give me enough movement here so I can shimmy it down there. I'm gonna take the fluid reservoir cap off, which is a coolant cap. And then yeah, so that way I can drain it down there and yeah, have some fun with the dirty fluid and stuff, you know. Yeah, same thing over here, cotter key, pin, key, and you know, bring this up to flush, the nut up to flush here, whack it with a big old smack-a-jamma, big old hammer, and then, you know, relieve it from the knuckle and take it off and go from there. Yeah. New cotter key. Alright. I have the hiccups, so this may be a little weird sounding. Just kind of want to talk about the rack and pinion that I did yesterday. More so about bolts, extra things that I left out, like the cross member below the rear where the drive shaft for the transfer case meets the front diff. There's a cross member, 4 bolts total. 4 bolts total, 4 nuts total. You'll have to hold one end, one side, 17mm ratchet, the other one 17mm wrench. Just hold, release. Those are the smallest bolts down there to remove the rack and pinion. Right after that, you'll have 3 total bolts, 2 of them with nuts and 1 of them just a bolt, because that threaded unit that's on the frame on the upper portion of the differential, the other 2 bolts are just nut and bolts. Those are 19 millimeter bolts. The rack and pinion itself, one side, which is the nut side, is I use the 7/8, but 7/8 millimeter, or 7/8 no millimeter, 7/8 or 22 millimeter. I didn't try if the 22 fit, but if it does, that would be the size. And on the head side was a 24 millimeter. I just used a wrench because it's up against the front cross member, and I guess there's only so much clearance between that and the sway bar, I believe. I ended up taking the sway bar down the next day, which was today, to finish it all up, because he needed the bushings yesterday, and I just had him pick them up because I was going to be tying everything in down there. Just threw those on, 4 bolts, just threw it on. The threaded portion of the fluid line on the rack and pinion was a 14 millimeter. Doesn't need to be a line wrench. It was a 14 millimeter wrench. Unthread that off the rack, kind of push it out of the way, and make sure that when you push it out of the way, you know that I guess steel has released itself, so it's got movement, so that way when you go to drop the rack, it doesn't drag that line, bend that metal. The return hose is just a hose clamp. There is a hose and hose clamp on the top of the differential when you lower it. That is a vent, nothing crazy, nothing you have to be worried about either. I think you can do that by your hands. I think I did that with my hand, the clamp. After that, we did the pump as well. So he got a brand new pump. It did not come with a pulley. The pump is held up by 2 bolts and a banjo fitting. I guess I only have 21 seconds worth of video left on my phone, so 2 banjo fittings, or 2 bolts, 1 banjo fitting. That's the fluid line, the high pressure point. Then you have a 12 millimeter and a 14 millimeter. Those go both straight to the pulley. See ya. Thank you.